Hey, it's Joe Marcoux from the SOS, the Sales Objection System Dojo, and I want to welcome you to this video because I just recently ran into this and I want to help you avoid the biggest meeting snafu ever, and that's getting ghosted. And let's face it, there's going to be times where your schedule is going to be exceptionally busy. So don't make this mistake that this person who promised me that they were going to meet me on a call that I scheduled. I sent them my schedule, they picked a time. So what do? I do all of my pre-meeting prep. I show up at the meeting and nobody shows up. And this person, I send them an email and I'm like, hey, I hope everything's okay. Would you like to reschedule? 20 minutes later, I get a reply and it's like, oh my God, I forgot, I was busy, and blah, blah, blah excuses. And there's one of my mentors who would say, how you do anything is how you do everything. In the world of sales, you can't afford to be late, let alone forget a meeting. To me, this is inexcusable. Now, don't get me wrong, shit happens. So if something happens, that's one thing. The reply that I got, quite honestly, was brutal. And I don't want to get into the details. Ultimately, I want to help you remove the snafu. God forbid you ever get into a position where you ghost someone because you lost track of time, you got busy on what may have been a more important call. There's nothing more important than the call that you're going to because you've already scheduled it and you made a commitment to someone. And so for a variety of reasons, I want to start with this. Number one, to avoid a snafu, give yourself blocks of open time between meetings. One of the biggest things I've seen, the biggest mistakes I've seen salespeople make, whether you're a remote closer or you go door to door or you go into different business meetings or you have phone calls, is you stack meetings one upon the other upon the other. You have no time for pre-call prep. Pre-call preparation is critically important because you want to be able to get alignment with someone. So this gives you a little bit of time to do the pre-call prep, take some notes ahead of time, and then build rapport with someone. B, which is really important in between calls, it's called a bio break. I don't know about you, I love to drink water, I love to drink coffee, and if in between a call, I gotta go, the last thing you want is to have the pee-pee dance while you're on a call and you're not paying attention because you want to relieve yourself. Listen, give yourself a certain amount of time in between calls. This bio break time doesn't give you license to consistently go overtime on every call. That's not going to do you any favors. If anything, what you need to be doing, and this is the critical component, give yourself that amount of time where at the beginning of the call, frame the call. What do I mean by that? If you don't tell somebody, hey, I've got a call at, let's just use the example, 10 o'clock. I've got a hard stop at 10 o'clock because my next call starts then. If you don't tell the person you're with, you're going to have a problem. So don't make the mistake. If you batch calls one after the other without having any lag time in between, you're going to be consistently late. And if you're late, you're in trouble. The way I like to put it is, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're already late. And if you're late, you're in trouble. So don't be late. Adjust your schedule. If you have to move things by 15 minutes, like 15 minutes gives you enough time to go have a bio break, refill your cup of coffee or water, even go have a micro walk and get refreshed, because it's going to change your state and change your environment. Get away from the camera, get away from the lights. This is going to be able to refresh. Get outside for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, honestly, it's like taking a nap. Naps save lives. Well, these little 15-minute bio breaks, they save your life when it comes to sales. It also gives you just a couple of minutes to refresh your memory. Maybe you're checking somebody's LinkedIn profile. Oh yeah, that's right. And then you take another note and then you're prepped. If you're going meeting after meeting after meeting, I promise you it's a recipe for disaster. Now, if you're the person who, for some reason, you are going to be late, there's no way around it. Tell the person that you're in the meeting with, just a second, I have to send my next meeting a note to let them know that I'm running late. Because if you don't, it's inconsiderate. So who are you as a person? You need to be considerate. You need to be respectful of other people's time. It's a question of integrity. And I'm going to ask you, have you got integrity? If you don't want to fall into this trap, do yourself a favor and give yourself the lag time before and after meetings so that you can be at your best. I'll give you an example. If I was going to be having a meeting with the President of the United States, do you think I'm just going to block that time of beginning to end, and then after that it's like, oh, by the way, Mr. President, I've got a 1 hour time block and that's it? Do you think? No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself extra time so that if the president wants to hang out with me, because let's face it, they've got questions in terms of how they're going to be able to sell people on their ideas, well, I'm happy to oblige. And so with that, I'm going to extend that conversation. I'm certainly not going to say, hey man, hard stop at 11. Can you imagine? So what I also don't want to do is book another call for 11 where I'm now feeling stressed that, hey, I'm with the president, or I'm with somebody famous, or I'm with somebody important. That other person is important. And imagine if that other person was one of your kids. Well, hey kids, I was with the president, so sorry. No, what you want to do is frame it and adjust your time schedule. It's one of the biggest blunders that people make. Rome wasn't built in a day. So give yourself some of that time. And I'm telling you this because out of my own experience, I've made this mistake. I booked call after call after call. And what ended up happening was when I made this shift, as opposed to chasing the money, I'm chasing happiness now. And truly, when I say happiness, it's joy. I want to be in the moment. I want to be of service to the person that I'm speaking with right now. And then if it's family, it's guess what? I've got a time slot, a moment of time that gives me the opportunity to downgrade my day in the sense of, okay, now I can write my list of things to do for tomorrow, and then I can prep, and then I can make sure that I'm on time for my family. Because I'll tell you what, it's a disastrous mistake. So to recap, if you don't want to have the Zoom meeting snafus or the live in-person meeting snafus, number one, show up early and show up prepared. Number two, remember, if you're on time, you're actually late. And if you're late, you're in trouble. Number three, give yourself some times in between. Give yourself some times in between meetings. This way you have time for a bio break, refill the coffee or the water, go for a little bit of a change of scenery, take a micro walk. This is going to be able to give you that state change and energy, because in sales, highest energy wins. If you're in a meeting and for some reason you are busy with loads of stuff on the calendar and you are going to run late, do the person a favor, send them a message, either send them a text, a WhatsApp, something on instant messenger, or at the very least an email saying, hey, I'm running late. And let the person that you're having a meeting with know, we're going overtime. If you really want to save yourself from all this trouble, what's the schedule at the beginning of the meeting? Let them know when your hard stop is. If you don't do that, then it's a recipe for disaster. Meetings don't necessarily need to be a whole hour long if you've scheduled an hour. Some of the best meetings that I've ever had, 10 minutes. Get to the point, let's go, move on to the next thing. And if you've got extra white space, it gives you opportunity to do what? Maybe create content. Maybe throw out some cold calls. Do some things like maybe reach out to a family member or a loved one while you're at work. Guess what? If you accomplish something in 10 minutes that you had scheduled for an hour, I'll tell you what, it gives you the opportunity to connect with the people that you care about the most. All right. So if this was helpful for you and it gives you the opportunity to not ghost anybody else in the future, then I've accomplished the mission. If you're interested in finding out more about resources that are going to help you be better in your meetings, be a better communicator, and have fun while you're doing it so that you can find your own joy in the world of sales, listen, check out sosdojo.com, get our free resources, or better yet, come in for a live session. I'll see you in the next video.